In three, in two, in one. Welcome to the Yogi Show, episode 5,000. No, it's episode 3. I love 5,000. That number. It's like power level 5,000, episode 5,000. It just puts I don't know, spark to it.
You mean
Power Man 5,000? This episode, what was that?
You mean Power Man 5,000?
Power Man 5,000. Boom.
You know the band.
I know the band. But welcome everybody, episode 3. And
what's up?
How you doing, Pedro?
I'm doing good. Welcome to season 2, episode 3, and we are excited to be here today. We got something new on. Something new on deck. Something we haven't done before. And I'm excited to dive in and do the thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man. Are you excited? You sound super excited.
I am excited, man. I am excited. I'm awake. I'm nervous. I had a morning of driving logistics with children and back and recording and all the thing, So Bryan and I have a scheduled time when we record these episodes. And sometimes life, just like everybody else, life, kind of goes in its ways and then we arrive and it's like, frazzled. And then, serious. And then okay, just have some fun, right? That's the point of life, is to have fun. So here we are to have some fun.
Have fun. That's the point of life, is to have fun. It's like a video game. We were just talking before.
Yeah, to enjoy life. So before we dive into today's episode, we want to give a big shout out to our first patron from Patreon. Woo! We just launched our Patreon. Big shout out to Heron. He's our first patron. And Heron's been an amazing light in my life, a great dude. And I'm excited that he was number 1. And if you want to be number 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, whatever you want to be, we're giving shout outs all month on the Yogi Show to our patrons. So you can head over to patreon.com/the Yogi Show if you'd like to support us on the journey and get some good behind the scenes stuff and some classes, etc. And you can check it all out. But thank you for all of your support. Anyway, just for listening to this show and sharing it with a friend, right? Following it, sharing it, liking it, smashing it, whatever, hitting it, whatever you do with it, and beat it up. Just whatever you do on your phone with the show, when you see it, thank you for the love. We appreciate you.
Yes, thank you for the love. Share it with your friends. And if you're able to write a review, that really helps. So if you're on Apple and you can write a review and you got some time, we would love that. It just, the world's an algorithm. So when you write a review, when you give us 5 stars, then Apple shares it with more people. They throw it on their algorithm. More people are able to hear it. We're happy. You're happy. The world's happy. It's just a good thing. Right, Pedro?
It's a good thing. It's a good thing. Sharing is caring. Spreading the love. And today we're spreading joy to your ears today with story time. Story time and reflection. Bryan, give him the lowdown on what's going to happen on this episode.
So I love stories. And if you've followed any of my other stuff, I share stories. I love when I'm in yoga class and a teacher will tell a story at the end of class, after Shavasana, because our brains love stories. We used to be hunters and gatherers, and we used to gather around the campfire and tell stories. And in those stories, that's where we learn metaphors. That's where we get our survival. That's where we get our inspiration. So I found an article. I found it a couple years ago, and it really helped me just with stories in my class and myself inspiration. So I found it's on the wealthygorilla.com. I'm going to post this article in the description so you can read through these at your own leisure. But it's inspirational stories, and I'm going to read a few. Maybe we'll get through them all. If we don't get through them all, you got the link. You can check them out. How do you feel about this, Pedro? Are you ready?
Yeah, that feels really good. And before we dive into the first story, I like also when we're talking about yoga, we were reflecting on yoga and stories, right? The teacher tells it at the end of a savasana. If you've ever been to a class, and if you never have, it takes the next level of teaching. But when they weave the story in throughout the entire class into the poses, and then all the way it wraps up at the end. Have you ever been in a class like that?
I have.
Yeah, those are my favorite. Theme, it's like a theme, but with a story woven in. But when the teacher's not reading the story from the script, they're reading the story their reflection of it with quotes and metaphors and applying it to the poses and stuff. Man, I love that. Those are for me, those are the epic classes. I'm not into going to the anatomy driven alignment folk, whatever. I'm in there to feel good, right? So when I get a good story, man, it makes me just feel awesome. So I'm excited for this because we're gonna feel awesome. So there's that.
We can give you some good stories. So you'll have this article for you in the description.
Maybe you want to share it.
To use.
Yeah, maybe you want to share it with people. You want to share it.
Yeah. So, you ready for it?
Let's do it.
Pedro's ready, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls from around the world. Are you ready for a story time? You can say it out loud if you're in the car or if you're sitting on your recliner or chair. You can say it out loud, and your family and friends will be like, this person's crazy for talking out loud. But you can gather them by. You can say, hey, come over here. Come over here. It's story time. Yogi, Bryan, Pedro Luna is going to say some stories. So the first story is called The Group of Frogs. The Group of Frogs. Here we go. As a group of frogs was traveling through the woods, two of them fell into a deep pit. When the other frogs crowded around the pit and saw how deep it was, they told the other two frogs that there was no hope left for them. So imagine frogs are walking through the woods, and then two frogs fall in, and the other frogs are like, you're fucked. You're fucked, guys. It's too deep. Which, and we're going to make some commentary during the story, a little comedy, but it's like, if you got friends like that, you got to figure out your friends. They're just like, see ya. You're in a deep hole. It's too deep.
We got to get you out.
Yeah. That's a red flag. It's a red flag.
Big time.
Okay. However, the two frogs decided to ignore what the others were saying, and they proceeded to try and jump out of the pit. Despite their efforts, the group of frogs at the top of the pit were still saying that they should give up. They should just give up, that they would never make it out. Eventually, one of the frogs took heed to what the others were saying, and he gave up, falling down to his death. So yeah, one of those frogs down there says, I'm out. Fuck it. I'm done. I'm giving up. R.I.P. Which, okay. The other frog continued to jump as hard as he could. Again, the crowd of frogs yelled at him to stop the pain and just die. So this frog jumped even harder and finally made it out.
Dang.
When he got out, the other frog said, did you hear us? The frog explained to them that he was deaf, and he thought they were encouraging him the entire time.
Wow.
Whoa.
Dude, what a mind trip that is. Think about that. Is that the end of the story?
End of the story.
So think about that, right? So if you see all these people making frogs making commotion, right? And it looks like they're excited, but they're actually, putting you down. But you can't hear them. You're turning out the noise. You're turning out the noise, right? And you're just feeding off what you think you're creating your own energy based on what you think is happening up there. So you're creating the reality in your mind. Yeah. And then able to push through and persevere and overcome. Great metaphor for life.
It is.
Obviously, but that's awesome.
It's
man.
like he was feeling the hype. Like he was feeling the hype. He was.
Yeah.
It's like, can you imagine? Like you can see like the frogs looking up, and you can just see everybody like, their facial expressions. And he's like, okay, they want me to jump out of this. I can't hear them, but like they're giving me some energy, They don't just have like sullen, sad looks, not saying anything. Like that'd probably scare the frog.
Sure.
But yeah, and it's like, words are powerful. Words
absolutely.
are powerful.
It reminds me of the movie, the Batman movie with Bane. I don't remember.
Oh yeah.
Was that Batman? Or am I wrong on that?
I think it was. Yeah, it was Batman when he's stuck like deep in the hole.
Deep in the hole. Yeah. He's deep in the hole. And he falls down and breaks his back.
It was with Bane, I think.
With Bane, and he, then he fixes his back, and then he makes that leap, right, and clings onto the stone, and then climbs out of the hole. Essentially, what you're saying right now, and climbs out of the hole. And everyone down below in the pit that can't get out is like cheering him on, and he makes it, man.
Yeah, it's the power of encouragement, and that's what it says. The moral of the story. So on this article, it says the moral of the story: people's words can have a big effect on others' lives. Think about what you say before it comes out of your mouth. It might just be the difference between life and death. Ooh.
Yeah.
got
And
goosebumps.
think about that as you're in reflecting on it with relating it to yoga practice. Think about it when you're as a in the class, right? And you're receiving the information from the teacher, right? The messages from the teacher and how it feels within you, right? Can you imagine? Someone was just sharing with me last night in my class that she went to a class and the teacher was talking about how that their money doesn't mean anything and it's not going to mean anything in a few years, and if they're just putting their money before their yoga, then they're wasting their time. And like they're saying this in a yoga class. And like, how would that make you? Like, that doesn't make you feel good. It doesn't make you feel
Yeah.
good at all. You know, it doesn't make you want to come here and spend your money that apparently is not going to be worth anything in a few years. But it's like, but it doesn't make you feel good. Like, so when you come into a class and the teacher's sharing space and they're sharing, insightful messages, it's a great feeling, right? It's a great feeling. I've been to those classes where the teacher, or just in life, where someone's just having a rough day or they're sharing something that just doesn't feel good, right? It's just not adding value to my life or to the whoever you're around. It's like, man, like that person's going through a hard time. I mean, if they're sharing negative things, like they're probably not feeling so good about themselves.
Yeah.
They need some love. They need some love. You know what I mean?
That exactly. That reminds me, one time I was teaching, I was getting into the stories. There's just like, okay, I'm gonna add stories to my class. I'm gonna add stories at the end.
Yeah.
And I picked like the worst story. I don't know what I was thinking. Like in my head, I think you remember this. I told you about it. In my head, like I thought this story was going to be great. Like
get your popcorn ready, people.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be awesome. Like it was a sad story, but there was a moral to it. And I told this story, and it was like crickets, and it was so sad. And I was like, "What did I do?" Like that was an L. That was a fail. People came up to me and was like, "Man, sad story.
No,
not cut it out.
Dude,
Sad, too man. Sad." I felt like so small, and I was like, "Okay, that was an L." I need to like say uplifting stories, even though if there is a moral of the story that's good, and I thought it was a good story, it definitely wasn't. So.
I took an L one time. I'm still mixed on it. Let's let the crowd react, right? And then you react. How would you make? Okay, you're on the beach. The full moon has come up. You're with a group of 200 people. You're on your back, like winding the practice down, right? And you're giving your knees a hug. You know how you give your knees a hug in? You're rolling a little left and right, just kind of rolling side to side before you do like bridge and then like twist and then savasana. And so you're giving yourself a hug, right? And I'm like, okay. And we're talking about self-love. Like we're talking about self-love in this moment. Like that was the theme that I was going with when I'm teaching this class. And I'm like, okay, I want you to give yourself like a hug, like you've never, something that feels really good. So you're giving yourself a hug, and then I'm like, I want you to give yourself a hug. I don't know, from a loved one, as if like your loved one was hugging you. Right. And you're like, oh, this feels so good. And then I was like, I want you to give yourself a hug from somebody that can't hug you anymore because they're not here. And I was like, and then people are crying. People are crying. People are just like, you know what I mean? And I'm like, I don't know. It was good or bad. It was just, there was tears all over the place. And like, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know why. I don't know where it came from, but I wanted to cry,
I feel that's good though. Get those feelings out.
I guess, but what if like you really miss somebody, then you're hugging like something traumatic happened to them? Like I was like, I don't want to trigger people. Oh, I felt like I was torn. I was.
What was the feedback you got from like the students?
I didn't ask.
You're just out. You're like the Tasmanian devil. You're just like a cloud of smoke. Like, like where did Pedro go?
Bye.
Beep beep.
I didn't even have time for the beep beep. It was just a trail of dust.
He was out. He was at his house.
Man, yeah, it was like literally it's like a 200 person class on the beach when I was it was like a year and a half ago. I know my friend Jessica, if she's listening to this, she knows exactly the moment I'm talking about. And and anybody that was there. So anybody that was there. But anyway, that was just a time when I said I said something and I'm like, I know my intent was good, but I'm just not sure the timing was appropriate.
The timing and delivery. It's really like timing and delivery and like, where was the vibe in class too?
Yeah.
Because
totally.
that was what happened to me. The vibe in class was so like upbeat, pumped up. And then I was, and it was I guess I wasn't prepared as well. Like I had on my phone like different stories to read from, and like most of the stories were really uplifting and good. And I'm like,
Uplifting.
okay, I'm gonna pick this story. Like every story has been a win so far, and I picked it, and I was like, I'd read it before, but it just
L.
L
Yeah, it happens. It happens.
happens.
Let's do one more another story. Let's do another one.
Okay, so this story is called The Butterfly. All right, here we go.
Transformation. Here we go.
Here we go. A man found a cocoon of a butterfly. One day, a small opening appeared. He sat and watched the butterfly for several hours as it struggled to force its body through that little hole until it suddenly stopped making any progress and looked like it was stuck. So the man decided to help the butterfly. He took a pair of scissors and snipped off the remaining bit of the cocoon. The butterfly then emerged easily, although it had a swollen body and small, shriveled wings. Sounds like me, like after a long weekend. The man didn't think anything of it, and he sat there waiting for the wings to enlarge to support the butterfly. But that didn't happen. The butterfly spent the rest of its life unable to fly, crawling around with tiny little wings and a swollen body. Despite the kind heart of the man, he didn't understand that restricting the cocoon and the struggle needed by the butterfly to get itself through that small opening were God's way of forcing fluid from the body of the butterfly into its wings to prepare itself for flying once it was out of the cocoon. And that, my friends, is the end of the story.
That's a story. That's powerful. That's powerful. That's like when we're in the shit, right? And we're feeling something within ourselves that we don't want to feel, right? We're going through a hard time. We're going through a transformation of jobs, relationships, whatever it might be, just like a challenging moment, right? A day, a week, a year, whatever it might be. And we want to force ourselves through that hole as fast as fucking possible because it's uncomfortable. You know what I mean? Like it feels like we're stuck. But sometimes if we take the shortcut, like let's consider this like the shortcut, right? The guy didn't know that this was going to be harmful to the butterfly. But if we take the shortcut, right, and numb out on things or do something that's not in alignment with our true self and our true values, we pay for it on the back end, as opposed to sitting with discomfort, embracing the discomfort, and allowing the process to unfold organically, and then moving forward in our life.
I love that.
But sitting with that little bit of discomfort for however long it might be will really allow us to fly free on the other side.
Yes. That's so good and perfect timing. What you said, what you just said is perfect timing because I've been working on that, like feeling the feelings. And I'm going to get a little vulnerable out there, everybody, but I'm back in recovery. I was struggling with addiction for like the last 4 years. And I had like, some time with sobriety. And then the last 4 years have been a little bit rough, and I'm back in it. I'm back in recovery. And that's one of the things is to feel your feelings. Like you got to stay in the feeling. You got to feel your feeling, because with addiction, it's like you numb it out with something else. Like it's like, oh, I feel a feeling, good or bad. It's like, okay, I need this social media. Or I need this like drug, or I need this like drink. It's like you just numb it out, and then you never feel the actual feeling that your body is trying to tell you. I'm gonna walk over and get this book that I absolutely love. Like I started reading it. Let me get it.
Okay, grab it. Yep, grab it. We're pausing while Bryan's searching for a book. This is a commercial break sponsored by Pedro Luna, as Yogi Bryan is searching.
I thought it was where I put it, and then I'm like, okay, fuck. Like
I was about to put on the music.
Thanks for waiting, everybody. But if you're on YouTube, you can see it. It's Letting Go, the Pathway of Surrender. The Pathway of Surrender
by David Hawkins.
Like David Hawkins. I'll link it up.
Okay.
And it just talks about like sitting with the feelings. Like it's not it's not like an esoteric practice or like a woo-woo practice. It's just like all you got to do is like sit with the feelings. Like, what are you feeling? Like, why am I feeling this? And like
Yeah,
kind of really get down to, because if you feel it, it's just like energy. Like your
totally.
emotions, your feelings have energy and they just want to be seen. They just want to be felt. So I love that you shared that about,
Yeah.
like, that's what you got from the butterfly story. Like, I
Yeah.
love that because like, thanks for sharing
On
that,
point.
bro.
There was so in the Ram Dass book, Be Here Now. Do you have that book, Bryan?
I don't, but I've heard a
Okay.
lot of good things about
Okay.
it.
Yeah, so it's a great book. It's very for I think a lot of the listeners probably know, have heard of it, right? And so the book is a transformational journey and just like awakening and coming to an awareness and all these things about basically down the rabbit hole, out of the rabbit hole, and all the things that happen along the way of transformation, right? The journey to self. And in the book, there's a page and it talks about the butterfly and like the cocoon, right? And my friend had drew me a picture of that page, and I had brought it with me when I moved to Florida as part of my transformational journey when I moved down here, because I was in the shit, y'all. I was in the shit. I was just every day was a struggle for a long time.
Mentally,
Yeah, mentally.
physically.
2014. Yeah, physically, I was just drained. Mentally, just I mean, I was all over the place because I was moving. I was going through a big shift in my life,
Yeah.
and I wanted to blast through that as fast as possible. I didn't want to feel any feels. I talk about it. I still talk about it sometimes. Like I don't want to feel. I don't want to feel. But
I feel that.
that's not going to help me or anybody else in the long run, right? It's not in the long run. It's not. Maybe for the moment, it's like it's too much to deal with right now. Like I just can't. I understand. Like there's a time and a place for everything. But no, the more that I suppress something, whatever it is, the more that we're gonna have to deal with it later.
Yes.
It's more challenging to deal with later. When I got divorced in 2013, I didn't deal with anything for like 11 months. I just lived my life as if everything was okie dokie, hunky dory, fine. Everything's all good. Everything's all good. One day driving to work, fucking total, just melted out of nowhere.
Oh, snap.
Everything changed out of nowhere. Everything changed. I just saw all the anxiety, everything came to me.
Were you listening to a song or something?
I don't know.
I
was turning right off of Deal Road onto Route 59, like a casual, whatever day it was, going to work.
Just another right turn.
Just another right turn that led me down the wrong path. Bro, actually led me down the right path. But I didn't want to feel that shit, And it sucked, man. And it sucked for a long time. But that's because I didn't deal with anything. And so when you start to deal with it, then you're able to sit with it and go through it and embrace it and move through it. And you start to, instead of swimming, upstream, you start to, swim around and go with the current downstream. But know that it just takes time. And just like this butterfly was being patient in the cocoon, someone came to, help to force them out to go faster. It doesn't always, it doesn't work that way in real life. Yeah, there's support systems, there's yoga, there's meditation, there's there's friends, there's groups, there's all these different things for people out there to support you on your way. But you have to take accountability for yourself and do the inner work. You are the only one that can really, really do the work. You're the only one, right?
Only one.
When you're willing to do it, when you say, hey, I'm all in, 2 feet in one boat, and we're going. That's when the shift can happen. That's when the butterfly can come out of the cocoon with full wings, right? But it takes time, and you got to be willing to feel the feels, even when the feels they don't feel so good,
Yeah, the healing is in the feelings. The healing is in the feelings. It really is, and yoga gets me there. When I'm in pigeon pose and like I'm feeling those feelings and stuff is coming up. But it's like that's what's so good with like yoga. Like you sit in it, you sit in the discomfort of the asana and you allow the feelings to come up and just feel them. Like say hi to them. Hello, I feel you.
Yeah.
What else is there?
Yeah. As over the last month, when I was creating the Next Level Yoga Academy, this new business where I'm helping new yoga teachers, mentorship, that kind of thing, I'm building this brand from zero. Bryan, you know what it's like to build a brand from nothing, from a thought. And it's so much work. Like you start at the top, like I want to be here, and all the things you got to do to get to there. And I was feeling the weight of it in my chest. I mean, it was heavy because I wanted to get it done so fast. Like I knew what I needed to do. Like I know what it takes, but I didn't want to go through the caterpillar to the cocoon
Yeah.
to the
Yeah. The
butterfly.
tough. Yeah. The
You know,
pain.
yeah. And so finally I just sat with it, like, hey, let me give this a mental break. Let me put all these papers away that I have scattered all over the place. Let me just put that away and just sit with, hey, I know what I need to do. I know that it's going to take time and I'm willing to give myself the time. I didn't take, my other brands, other things that we've built together separately. This shit doesn't happen in one day. It doesn't happen in 1 week, 1 year. It takes years. So patience is the key in all of it. I think that's a great message for today is,
Yes.
we don't quit. We never quit. And we're patient and trust the process. We never quit.
Patient, trust the process. And like things that I've really been working on that go with this is like surrender, like just surrendering to my feelings. And it's like trust the process. That's pretty much like surrender. It's like, okay, I can't control every single fucking aspect of my life, like in terms of how it's going to play out. Like you with your next level academy, it's like you have a vision. And like when I start brands, I have a vision. I want to control the whole process and I want it to look exactly what's in my head. But like the universe might have different plans. And like maybe I have to really struggle or find some pain or like, fall hard for my ego just to be beaten down, to be like, oh, okay, I need to surrender. And like maybe it needs to go this route. And just like relationships for me as well. It's like, okay, I can't control that other person. Like I just got to surrender. And like, what am I feeling? What do I need to do for myself? So I love that, man. Patience and trusting
man.
with the process.
And that comes in all things, especially if you're out there and you're a yoga teacher, you're an entrepreneur, or you're trying to start a new business. The true stuff, the grit, when you have the grit to get through the tough times, it's easy when you get to the other side. That's easy when you get over there. It's the grit that you put in, the work that nobody sees. I'm working at 10 p.m. at night as laying in my bed, just doing some things, whatever. Like, don't try to understand. Like, I stopped trying to understand the mind of an entrepreneur. I don't, I just go with what feels right, and I just keep going. Mm-hmm. Just keep at it. So whatever you're doing, whether you're an entrepreneur or you're not, whether you go to a 9 to 5, whether you're in school, whether you're a stay-at-home mom or stay-at-home dad, whatever it is, right? If you just have that grit about you, that know that, hey, the ride of life is ebbs and flows. And when we just allow ourselves to say, hey, we're in the lull, we're in the down, right? We just we grit through it. And we know that part is not forever. Yeah. It's not, because the up comes, it's coming. Boom. But if you don't, but sometimes you don't know when it's coming. You have a vision like, oh, it's going to happening soon. All this hard work's going to pay off. But you just got to keep on the windy road. You just got to keep going.
Windy road. Keep on the windy road. And
So I think those are some great messages for today. I think that's a great stopping point for today on the story show. I think we'll definitely do episodes like this again, because I think there's a lot of value in this for you out there. I know I learned a lot myself just by listening to the stories and Bryan's, opening up to vulnerability and the things that we've talked about. So
and it's also, I just want to say, and like that story is also like for other people, like if you're in a relationship or like a have a child, it's like you can't control their process as well, like their struggles. I know as a parent, like I don't want my child to feel any pain, like,
suffer.
let me help you, like let me do this for you or something. But like they got to grow their wings, they got to get stronger, they got to go through that pain, they got to go through their journey to learn, or it's just
or else you're just going to keep doing that for them forever until you're not available to do that forever anymore, and then they're going to teach somebody else to do that for them forever. Like teaching, this is about, growth and independence too. You know what I mean? And like, I got, just like me, I have three kids, I don't want any of them to suffer. Anyone that needs help, or, I would take I think all the time I would take their pain away, take their struggle away, but you can't, they have to go through it. They have to, we just have to be the support system, right? Just supporting them on the journey.
System. Absolutely.
That's it.
There's your 2 stories out there, everybody. The first one, the group of frogs, about the encouragement and how your words are so powerful. Your words are so powerful. So if you can use those words to encourage someone, especially if you're on social media, instead of maybe dropping that negative comment and drop something encouraging to someone, because words are powerful. And then struggles, embrace
Yeah.
the struggles, get through it.
Feel the feels. Don't turn away from the feelings. Don't. Okay, my friends. Until next time, if you're still listening to the show, thank you so much for all of your support, for being here. And we look forward to having another episode out soon. And let us know if you could let us know how you like this story time episode. If you want to send us a message, there's a link in the show notes to send us an email at hello@theyogishow.com, or just send Bryan or I a DM on Instagram. Everything's linked in the notes, and we'll be back soon. Appreciate all of you.
Yes. We'll be back soon. Share this with a friend that needs it. If you're watching on YouTube, subscribe, hit that like button. Again, algorithms need to be our friends. So once you engage in the post, even if it's on Apple, and you can write a review, or if you're on YouTube, you can write a comment, like it. If you don't like it, you can hit, you don't like it. Any of that engagement really helps the algorithm. And yes, please check out our Patreon, support us there. We got some exclusive content. We throw some funny memes on there, like behind the scenes memes, because I meme Pedro all the time and he memes me. So we're going to start putting these behind the scenes that we're not posting on Instagram on Patreon. So you got to check that out.
100%. Until next time, friends. Peace.
Peace.